Oh, you're sharing.
Test. Test. Test.
Yeah, what I found is that this microphone actually goes out to that. Okay, that was going on. Oh, it's because of the audio's coming out through.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Testing.
I don't think
And even with that, it's like, and so for the ones that are not to be like out one outward speak out. Somebody
In between the question. Yeah.
I say it's still like sort of
Hey everybody online, if you can hear us, can you put something into the chat?
also going to be switching to it's like, I don't know, it's something
Yes, thank you, Emily. Right, audio online is working. Right, let's do this thing.
Cool. Okay. Is that all good? Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to, on behalf of Zane, who's also here from Auckland Transport, myself, welcome to Auckland Transport. Lovely to host you here tonight. Today is an important day. Does anyone know what today is? It's not World Product Day. Does anyone know when World Product Day is? Tomorrow, yes. So our excuse is we just want to be first. So we're first with World Product Day. It's also another day or event. Anyone know what event it is at the moment? Tech Week, yes. So excited to be part of the Tech Week. Are we part of the Tech Week program? Oh, okay. We're not officially a part of the Tech.
Officially a Tech Week event. But thank you for coming here and not to Tech Week.
But we're here supporting technology. Now, so for World Product Day, what we'd like to do is a Happy World Product Day video. So if you don't want to be in the video, just step to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch my camera on, and we can all, on the count of 3, say Happy World Product Day. Are you all good to go? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out of my camera. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Happy Product Day!
Cool. Okay. Thank you, everyone. A couple of housekeeping notes here at Auckland Transport tonight. The first is, so if there is an evacuation, we just need to leave via the door at the left and exit outside and kind of walk down the street until there's a bit of an area that we come out to. If you need toilets, we just need to pop out into the lobby area and then turn left in the middle of the list, and the toilet's kind of in the area behind you. We do need a card to let you out at the moment because we've just locked the gate. So if you do need help getting out of Sanjana, just speak to one of the people at the back of the room if you want to leave early tonight, because we're putting you to sleep talking about AI. In terms of other things, Anthony's worried. We're also tonight, so obviously along with us, we thank you to Pendo for sponsoring tonight. So thank you for the food and pizza to them. They provide a range of product tools, including analytics tools that you can find out. Also, if you're online, so we won't take questions during the talk. So we've got a series of 4 great lightning talks from product practitioners telling you about their real stories of using AI in their workflow, which I'm sure is why we've got such a great turnout here tonight. If you want to, so we'll do questions at the end after all 4 speakers. If you're online, feel free to put your comments in the chat, and we'll be sure to ask some of them in the room. Otherwise, I'm excited to hand over to Rahul, our first speaker, and I'm going to introduce him as a guy who sells milk.
Yes. I do. Thank you. All right, this works. I do sell milk, by the way, a lot of milk. So just to introduce myself, I'm Rahul. So I work with Global Dairy Trade, and we run global auctions for companies like Fonterra and a bunch of companies in Europe and US. But before I start, can I get everyone to just breathe? That was for me, but I thought I'd let you guys join in as well. AI is, I think everyone is an AI expert these days, right? So I'm not going to bore you with less. Yep. I'm not going to bore you with how to AI, but I just want to share a story about how we use AI at GDT. Anyone who doesn't use AI? I should not put my hand up. No? Okay, good. So the story goes like this, right? So how we see AI is in 3 categories. So you have chatbots, your chat GPTs, enterprise engine, what I'm going to be talking about today, and then the AI native products like Lovable, Claude Code, where AI builds code within their company, right? So they don't code anymore, as in humans don't code anymore, it's Claude coding it for them. And how, so just to set the scene here, so how we use AI is through Microsoft Copilot, Microsoft 365 Enterprise Copilot. Yeah, they have a branding issue. And the good thing about how we use, the one thing I like about Microsoft, I'm not a big fan of the brand, is at least it has context, right? So we use SharePoint, and it has access to SharePoint, it has access to all our personas and customer journey maps and stuff. So we were asked to do, obviously every company has a lot of problems. So we have an issue with a global audience and getting people onboarded to our systems. So we have teams in Europe, we have teams in US, we have teams in Mexico, and there's basically a lot of people and a lot of customers who are spread across the globe. So the question was, how do we improve the onboarding experience for new customers? So it's, imagine booking in time with people in Indonesia, people in China. It's a lot of manual work. So and usually, going back to the olden days, right? Like traditional discovery used to take 6 weeks, and it's a trial. So you have your designer, you have your architect, and you have the product person. 3 people, and I'm being 6 weeks is conservative, right? Like it could take longer depending on people's availability and stuff. But with this specific example, we could compress a 6-week cycle down to 2 weeks, right? And that's the story for today, right? So it's how we managed to compress the manual synthesis and the let's say the manual work, right? The hard work of sitting and reading all these transcripts and user journey mapping and all that stuff. Everything was done with AI. So that's how we use AI. It's within the context of the company. It's with guardrails. But the message I want to put out there is it didn't replace the work we did. It's just helped us do things faster, right? So 6 weeks down to 2 weeks. Same people, same teams. It was just AI in the loop helping us through the process, right? And Toolkit was I'm not a big fan of Microsoft, but Microsoft was our tool in this toolkit. just love the Microsoft 365 transcripts. I'm not sure if you guys use Microsoft Teams here. It transcribes. It's pretty awesome, right? So you don't need to sit and write notes down. You can just listen, really focusing on what people are saying, the outcomes, the whys. And then you have, the Copilot as a whole, like, has access to SharePoint, our personas, our customer journey maps. Everything is within SharePoint, which is pretty awesome. And I love Lovable. I'm not sure if anyone uses Lovable here. Yeah. I love Lovable. It's magic. So just breaking things down, right? And I'll keep this short. How I break down our pieces of work is we listen, synthesize, then we visualize, storyboard, and then we shape the problem, shape the solution. So you visualize the problem, and then you shape the solution, right? So this is where I think AI was amazing. So you obviously got time to listen to the customer without sitting and taking notes, which is pretty awesome. I've given you a little example of AI in action. And then visualizing the problem, this is where, we just took everything, all the transcripts, and I put it in Lovable, and I said, build me a user journey map. And then boom, and in wireframe, obviously put some guardrails around the styling and stuff. And it gave me a lovely little user journey map. It also mapped the awareness, like all the different stages of our journeys, and all the pain points mapped against those points. So where this was amazing is the fact that we could then really focus on the why, like, okay, where are the biggest problems? What are we trying to solve for? Like, rather than sitting and doing all this busy work, we could actually have these conversations, which is pretty awesome. And then magic number 2, right? So we went from storyboarding, obviously this is virtual, to lo-fi wireframes. And the good thing about, as you know, like with lo-fi wireframes, there are no colors, there's no distraction, right? So you're just going from screen to screen, saying, okay, does this solve the problem? And imagine, like, we have teams all across the world. So this is in real time. As soon as I was doing this, they had access to the wireframes then and there. So it was not like I'm doing it virtual, like on my like on my computer, and then I have to share it with them. This is all like we all share the same interface and inference. So they had access to these as soon as I was doing them, and they could provide feedback. I don't know if you could see, but there's like a little feedback button. So they were just providing feedback as we were vibe coding the solution. So yeah, I guess the key takeaway from here, right? So, and this is almost production ready code. Like this is, I have the CSS and the brand guidelines for the company. So all I have to do was attach the brand guidelines to the wireframes, and Lovable did the rest. So it doesn't look amazing, but it's production ready code that we can actually test with customers, and we did. So we had a little panel of customers. We sent it to them. They loved it. No complaints. So just one key takeaway from this whole talk, right? So is the feedback loop is much faster. So obviously the busy work, synthesis, all that stuff is awesome. But one thing that I found really, really helpful was the speed of feedback, because it was real time. Everyone has access to the same files you're working on. And we could test with users, internal users as well as external users, really fast, and learn and refine with those feedback buttons. And you can build stuff, right? So you don't have to get some software to do this for you. You can actually build those features within. Amazing stuff. I mean, just going back a couple of years, would never be able to do this, right? It'll take forever, and we have to spend thousands of dollars on fancy software. So there are some learnings though. It's not all perfect. I don't know if it happens to you, but AI gives you a lot of stuff, right? As soon as you put in something, it gives you like a lot of content. It generates a lot of content. So one of the learnings from me specifically was you need to filter the content ruthlessly. I really understand the why we're doing this, what's the outcome you're after, and forget the rest. Because some really good stuff. Thinking about the content makes a lot of sense, but is it helpful? No. But I spend a lot of time reading a bunch of things that I should not have read. Again, it's not slop if you anchor on the problem. So again, going back to that problem statement, right? That's why that storyboard helped a lot. Really understand which part of the journey we're trying to help our customers with, and how, which insight would provided that input, right, for us to solve for that problem. And the last one was take people on the journey, because for product practitioners, you play around with the software a lot. Like for me, I play around with Lovable a lot. I'm just building nonstop, spending a lot of money. But other people don't know what the hell you're doing, right? Like they don't know what Lovable is. They don't know anything about code work or anything. For them, they know ChatGPT. So one of the things I realized is that I needed to take people on the journey to make sure that they understood what I was doing and how we were doing things, because there's a trust gap. People don't always trust AI. They're like, oh, you use AI. But in the end, it's the outcome of how you tell that story is another learning that I had. I didn't do it really well the first time, but after a week, after 3 or 4 days of going back and forth, actually showing them, I took those videos as well, just to show them how we were doing stuff. So yeah, take people on the journey. And I'm going to end with that key message, right? AI just compresses time and not thinking. You're still doing your thinking. You're still owning the craft. AI doesn't take that away from you. But I think the main thing is it does the busy work for you. And I think that's been amazing. That's my story. Thank you. All right. And now I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Peony.
Hi, everyone. Got to point at the computer? Okay. Okay, I'll have to use this. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Rahul, for introducing me. So my name is Peony, and I work at FileInvite. Today, I will be sharing with you how I use AI in a product team of one. So just a quick background. FileInvite is a B2B SaaS company. We help US commercial lenders automate loan document collection to help, commercial lenders like banks or private lenders automate loan document collection to speed up that time to decision to give out loans. Before pre-Series A, the company has found product market fit in Australia mortgage and kept that TAM pretty quickly. The company then raised the Series A couple years ago, right when I joined, to do that all over again, to find PMF again in a new geography, in a new customer, and with a new product. So at around the same time, the SaaS playbook has changed. So it's no longer about growth at all cost. Investors looks at capital efficiency, revenue per employee. And what FileInvite choose to do is to act like a more earlier stage. So work in a smaller, leaner team, more nimble and more deliberate. So what this means that the company last year went from had about a 30% reduction in headcount across the company. As for the product team, we went from a team of 3, me, a product designer and a business analyst product owner to a team of 1. And for the engineers, we used to have a team of 15 engineers, now reduced to a team of 9. So fewer engineers, but same roadmap ambition. At the same time, the combination of acting at an earlier stage and the intersection of AI capability help us multiply. It's a multiplier to help us maintain that momentum with a leaner team. So yeah, what I'm about to share with you today is how I adapt, leverage AI and the lessons I learn along the way. So first lesson is to lean on your team. With a product team of 1, file invite customers are based in the US. Well, we have global customers, but our ideal customers, the market that we're heading into in the US, which makes it nearly impossible for me to be on every customer calls. So what I do is I lean on my customer success and sales team to be my customer research team. And we, wherever it's possible, I'll join those calls if it aligns with the time zone. But most of the time, wherever I can't join, I will watch those calls retrospectively. And then next slide. And then what I do is I take those call transcripts and feed it into Claude. Just like, Rahul did with the customer research, feed them into Claude. So it's just an example of how I set up my Claude code. So this is going to be about how I use Claude code, but also how I leverage it. Take those transcripts, feed it into Claude, then I use that to discern insights from across the customer because I watch those calls, right? You already have those gut instincts of what are the pain points, what customers love about us, and what are the gaps. And, it's so easy to fall in like over analysis trap here too. So it's about just doing just enough to get that coverage of customer calls to make, enough to make decisions. So don't let the perfect customer research stop you from shipping values to your customers. Again, so the next lesson is perfection is the enemy. So when I fire up Claude code and I could spin up a really high fidelity prototype in a couple of hours, the feedback has been, the button placement is why is the button placement here, or what is the business rule for this feature? So when you fire up like these high fidelity prototype, it invites these micro feedback. And so what I share with the team is trying to help them connect. Actually, it's not about the prototype, it's about how can we learn this quickly, get enough, do just enough so that we can learn from our customers. So with the engineering team, with one of me and 9 engineers, well, it's not switching. I have to accept that sometimes things go to production that's not pixel perfect. But what's important is that it's out there and we're learning from customers. So what I do is I use with the transcript, you create those context file, feeding it to Claude. Again, use Claude, use the customer transcript, the analysis, and then give the Claude the company context file. So like what is the company strategy and all that stuff, so it knows about your company. And then I just, prompt away, create those first prototype. And then you might want to also use design references like I use Figma MCP to pull like design references of existing components already, just to help me, build that really production like prototype really fast so that we can learn from and get customer feedback. And then we get those feedback. And again, those calls are recorded. Refinement conversations with the teams are being transcribed. So I don't really need to take any notes there. I could be present in those conversations, then take those transcripts again, then put it into, the project folder in, my machine. And then what else? Yeah, and then I use those transcripts to refine and get Claude to help me write those PRDs. And there's some, examples of PRDs I've done in the past so that it can use to, write it in the structure that you and your team prefer to consume PRDs, whatever works for you, and some writing guidelines. And then I then hand over the rest to the team, including these context file, because half the time when the team asks me something, I will go to Claude to ask that question. So I might as well just give those files to the team and get the team to ask Claude first, because likely my answer will be the same, what Claude say. And then they build. And then we don't just stop there, we then monitor the outcome. So with our analytics event, we then make it available as an MCP so that we can use Claude to learn what, after we ship, how customer are using it, are they adopting, and move quicker that way. So it's about moving fast, doing just enough, don't have to be perfect, so that you shipping that value to customer and learn, and then that iteration. You continue with that iteration loop. And then the last lesson is don't let the FOMO be the trap. So with social media, it can already make you feel like you're not doing enough. And now with people on LinkedIn, like AI thought leaders sharing, what they're doing, and product talk like this, sharing what other people are doing, can sometimes feel really overwhelming. I certainly feel that way, subscribing to Lenny and hearing all these people doing these amazing things and not feeling like I'm doing enough. So how I reframe it, it's about focusing on what are your goals, and start from there. It's not about the tool, it's about what are the things that you're trying to achieve, and start small and work on it. Doesn't have to be perfect, and move on. And that's how you cover these surface areas. So, I didn't start from day one doing all of these stuff. I started from building context file or even just running those prototypes. So just have to make sure I cover that last part. So for me, AI isn't about shipping code to production or submitting a PR. For me, it's about connecting the team to the right customer problem to drive the right outcome quickly. And then it's also about building product taste across the team. And AI is going to make it easier and faster. That's the hard truth, right? To produce code. So my job is about it's about making sure that the team is pointed to the right problems, and that's where I unlock the leverage. So lastly, I leverage AI as a multiplier to do just enough customer research, to get just enough customer insight, build just enough fidelity, and to get the product into customer hand and to learn quickly. So yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you. I will now hand over the mic to Darren.
Thank you. Right. Good evening, everybody. So I'm Darren New. So I am the product manager at Explore Technologies, and I work in the embedded payment verticals, mainly focusing on merchant onboarding. So today I'll be sharing how I perform product discovery with agents from strategy to roadmaps. Right, I think this is kind of self-explanatory. So in the past, we are all fighting for development resources, finding out when can we deliver certain features, and making hard decisions about, deprioritizing certain features over others, right? But now with AI, developing software is cheaper and faster. That means that we can deliver a lot more features than before, and that shifts the bottleneck from execution to discovery. And that's the reason why I need a structured thinking partner, someone who is available 24 hours and can perform analysis faster than myself to help me. And I created this multi-agent systems, and I'm going to name it X just for tonight. So what is X? So X is it has 12 specialized agents with multiple skill set, for each agent. And it is being managed by this orchestrator agents that guide me from phase 0 to phase 4 across all 5 phases of discovery, from strategy alignment to roadmap. And it will always require my approval before moving from one phase to another. And this approval is built in on purpose. The main purpose is to ensure that I or whoever that is using these agents vet through and review through all the artifacts that X produce, right? Because at the end, the person who are using the agents are still responsible for all the artifacts and the work that X produce. And next, I'm going to run through share examples that how I use X to help me with a new initiative. But then just a note that don't focus too much on the data. It's not real data. I'm just using it as an example. The main key thing here is to demonstrate how X validate the informations and derive the roadmap from all these inputs. Right. So I provide the initiative to my agent X. In this case, it is to run through this end-to-end strategy. Main thing is to improve the completion rate from 38% to 65%. Just 2 liners, and X responds with heaps of questions, like, what is the strategy context? Do you have any data of where the completion rate drops? And even the what's the current process? So as requested, I provide as much information as possible, but probably not all the answers to every question that X provide, that request. So I provided some high-level business context, the current process, and also the stakeholders. And in this case, in the right bottom, I even indicate that there's this Helen who managed the compliance and risk steps. She's kind of resistant to change, just to see how X responds. X took all my inputs and summarized, and of course, has what I've provided. It did mention that Helen is resistant to change, but probably we need to interview Helen. If you look at the bottom of the screenshot, we need to interview Helen to find out more about the compliance process. But in terms of the strategic context, X reckon that is probably sufficient, and we can proceed to phase 1 of discovery. So I did provide more information about my meeting with Helen to X, and X, unfortunately, I did not capture the screenshot, but X did kind of take that input and then perform a bit of analysis. And now it's like, oh, so Helen is actually not the broker. So what she needs is just a SLA dashboard, which we will need to gather more requirement from Helen. And at this stage, in this discovery phase, X did perform market and competitor analysis and provide a path to get to the 65% that I wanted to achieve for the initiative outcomes, right? But again, these are all assumptions and based on the analysis that X research. So X is now ready to go to phase 2. And you can see that in phase 2, X did mention that we need real data to provide further analysis to compare the estimate against the actual data that I'm going to provide. Right, so I provide more data back to X, and X is now able to provide a comparison between the estimate and the actual. And you can see that my actual is actually much lower than the estimate that X initially researched on. So, and I continue to proceed to the next phase. And with that actual data that I provide, X also managed to pick up that, oh, in your actual data, it is a 22.7 completion rate compared to your initial 38% that you mentioned in your initiative description. So, oh, which is good because I probably just didn't really look at the data and I just fit it into X. Now, X is requesting me to, further validate this 22.7%, and it provides me 2 options to move forward. One is to validate the data before moving to phase 3, which is the solution design phase, or we can do it in parallel. So in this case, just for this example, I decided to go with option B and proceed to phase 3. So again, X, with all the inputs and assumptions, X derived this solution design with 3 phases, guiding me how to improve from 38% to 48% in wave 1 and 48% to 60% in wave 2. And that's the wave 3, but I couldn't capture the whole screenshot. Right, and again, I just give this as an approval. If it is a real scenario, I'll be going back and forth with X to improve the whole analysis. But in this case, I proceed to phase 4. And this is the roadmap that it derived based on, again, certain assumptions and all the data that I provide, right? How we get from 38% to 65%. And at the end of all this, X actually summarized that, running through all the 5 phases and indicate that we have completed all of them. And what X can do next is to produce a presentation deck for the executive, right? So in my case, I have NCP connected to Miro and Notions. So Notion for my document source and Miro for my presentation frame, right? So pretty much this is how X helped me. So again, so X is not just a usual ChatGPT that provide conversational answer, but it actually generates structured artifacts to support the PM or me to use these artifacts to communicate to all the required stakeholders. So the decision is on me, but then what it improved is it increased my throughput and also the quality of my discovery. Of course, it's not perfect, like what Peony mentioned earlier in her sharing. So there are challenges as well. For those who use Claude, context continuity across sessions. So when you have a long conversation history, it gets compressed over time. And to mitigate that, like as I mentioned earlier, I update the information back to Notion. So if need to, I can always get Claude to pick up all the information that is from Notions. AI generated discovery artifacts like slides and your Miro board flowchart. Usually they are pretty much structurally accurate, but it requires refining it depending on how you want to tell your story to your audience. Last is the source of truth. Usually a lot of these informations are all spread across multiple systems. When I say information like, You want to get your collect data such as your customer feedback, financial data, operating data for analysis. You have to integrate with different systems into your agent or X to have a better analysis. But at this stage, I can't just copy and paste into X. Yeah, and pretty much this is how AI build X and make sure that we build the right thing at a faster discovery cycle, better stakeholder conversation, and a higher confidence. So this is my sharing for tonight. Thank you. And with that, I hand over to Emilie, who is the next speaker. I thought you wasn't here yet.
I was like everywhere.
This is the clip of the slides.
The slides. Hello, everyone. I'm Emilie Park and a senior product designer at a company called ActionStep. ActionStep is a global platform designing and servicing the lawyers. Like we make legal management and legal accounting software. So today I would love to share a real story from my day-to-day. So a document management project that I've been working on, and I jumped into the AI adoption journey. So what I really want to talk about is how AI is shifting our role as a designers. I would like to say from a pixel pusher to a story architect. So, yeah, today in my session, I want to cover the myth and the truth and the power, or I would like to say like what AI would do and what the designer would do in that process. And the AI for product build experience. I'm not talking about the product experience, the user's experience, but the experience what product designer actually experience during the process. And the design experience is, like I mentioned earlier, from pixel pusher to a story architect. And I would like to share like the real obstacles we faced and how we tackled it. Yep. So when I just searched online AI prompt to design product design, and the left two images are what we usually see, because these designs are all marketing materials, like capture the most dramatic moment of the entire story. It's like the most like spicy and exciting trailer of the entire movie. So as you can see on the left side, like it says that like, oh, it shows that one prompt and there's an arrow sign and there's a bang. So people usually get confused with that kind of extracted image. Then they think, oh, this is the AI thing. Without actually experiencing the reality, people say, oh, because we have AI, we don't need designers. But that's not true. Because the thing is, when I actually prompted to produce designs, like all other people have tried already, these type of images get produced. Like we polished our very rough draft email using ChatGPT, right? And it always rewrites like, I hope this email finds well, and lots of M dashes. And we now learn that this is very AI. So I would say that's AI's language. And same thing happens in the design area, because design is a visual language, and it has very certain AI way of language, how it speaks in pixels and colors. Anthony, next. Thank you. So if I just share the conclusion, what I want you to carry here is like, I would like to distinguish what AI can do in the process and what human designer can do. So AI does deciding what's in and what's out, usually about the scopes and out of scopes, and the UI component consistency audit and fixing it, and generating layout options. Like, for example, I say, I want to compare my result before and after, but I want to explore 4 different layouts. Then AI just perfectly suggests 4 different layouts, and I just review. And prototyping scaffolding is the magic that I experienced. So previously we used all other prototyping tools like InVision or even Figma prototype panels, and even advanced one called ProtoPie. Those things were the tools that designers spend like days and weeks to make it clickable. And in this case, with my new approach, designers actually can do more story and narrative framing and focus on continuity across the user's journey, and the visual strategy and decisions, and filling the emotional gaps. So this is just a high-level extraction of my prompt. So once I design the screen on Figma interface, I grab the URL and send it to the Claude Code and just, hey, this is the design and you can improve it. And I'm designing a bulk file upload feature. This is the context I'm giving to the AI tool. Then I explain the situation. So when upload is completed, the user needs to review the file name and the metadata and the file node. This is a real example, by the way. So I also create or add some constraint that you must use our design system components. Then, yeah, AI just generate nice things and give me some options whether I'm gonna download the file or it will actually access the interface and paint something. Then few rounds of prompting, then I want to increase the quality. Then I say, yeah, when pop-up toggle is off, then yeah, my float button should indicate the upload progress, sorry. Then yeah, let's just animations on the background filling up the button, and the upload is paused, then the animation should be paused as well. So I am giving very specific instructions what AI should do for me. But to come up with that prompt, I should be able to understand and experience, like more like testing the prototype. So before AI, so thanks to Action Step team, like allow me to share these real things with everyone. I follow the traditional way of user flow design and the screen design, and I'm a really good CDN designer. Like I don't really miss any like exception, like edge case screen design. So I tried my best. So this actual feature project is about bulk file upload to our file view interface. So it's saying that either clicking the button to upload or just put the file on the screen, like drag and drop feature, then it will move on to the next step, like uploading. There should be some progress bar. Then when it's done, then, oh, it's ready. Do you want to review? Then it shows the list of the files that I have uploaded. So it shows the file name and some file location and some note-taking space. Then once everything is done, and it's done. That's how I designed. It sounded perfect at the time. So I was really confident to share with the team, but then before, I'm explaining the things. I realized that like I was only focusing on the happy path. So we naturally think about how things should work, but we don't have enough cognitive budget to think about what we need to cover and what would be the exception. So in this case, if I just compare, can we go back? Thank you. So I just wanted to compare the amount of time that I had to spend here. So first, like prototyping, like it took ages, like I explained with all other traditional prototype tools. Like usually I just sit in the chair. Then when it's fully ready, I feel, then I share the link and review with like Product Trio. It takes some time because they don't have time. Everything will happen asynchronously, so it spends like days. Then they give me some feedbacks, and I go back to my desk, and then refine again, and going on and on and on. So usually for like one simple feature, easily takes a month. That's the norm. But after I adopted AI, like vibe coding for prototyping, I just sent my Figma design to the Claude, and Claude just coded everything. And there was a bit of extra work, like I had to set up the GitHub account and some deployment program called Verso. So after everything is ready, I just kept looping, like prototyping and refine, just check, test it, click, and fill. That's not enough. Then I add something extra to fill the gap in between, very like a small friction between one action to another. Then when I was ready, I share the prototype because it's already accessible online. So Product Trio just gathered again, and we had some discussions and improved the design again. Like when I say design, it's like entire feature flow. Then it was ready to share with some leaderships. So for this area, like the prototyping and refine, it took 1 day. Then feedback, maybe 2 days because everyone was busy. Then at the point I share the prototype with the leaderships, it was just the next day after the refinement. So because I was able to experience very like flawless, or how to say, very interactive prototype without putting so much effort, I was only focusing on experiencing it rather than appreciating like how many hours I invested in this prototype. So I'm so proud of myself. I hope everyone loves it. I didn't have that kind of mindset. Just, oh, it's there, I'll click it. Oh, it's not really good. So this area is where actually Product Trio teamed up, like gathered up and discussed, because I found some gaps that while we are uploading the files, if the user wants to visit other tabs, then what we're gonna do? That was my question. And it was found during the prototype testing stage. So engineer gave us a bit of context about the database system and the session things. So we came up with some solutions because like first time, my assumption was like something on the left. Then the engineer confirms that that's not gonna work. So we move on to the next, like alternative options. Within the context, I created more like designs, like covering the edge cases. And then everything was great because edge case was covered, happy path was perfectly working. And then at this point, I felt like something's cut off because the file was loaded and there was a confirmation message. So it seems like everything is done, but the file view page should be updated, right? Because I uploaded the new files, so the folder view should be updated as well. And also there was an opportunity to think about how we are going to display those newly updated file. So because still I had some cognitive budget because everything was just happening so fast and so easy, I put more thoughts about the animations. So like very subtle blinking, like fading in and out. So newly edited file items are just blinking. So even before starting building the design, I went through so many usability testings by myself, and the product became more like lovable, more than viable. Shall we go? So I would like to share my real prototype. So right.
Now okay, so you in the StreamYard session. So please just bear with us for a moment, just while
Yep.
we swap screens here. Right, so did you start the StreamYard session, that link that I sent you on LinkedIn?
I believe so.
I think you might have closed it.
I see. Then we can go again.
Yeah, that's right. So go back to LinkedIn.
Sure.
And grab the link. Please talk amongst yourselves. Will be just a moment.
You'll love it, by the way.
There we go. Okay, yep, hit that. Yep, blah blah. Okay. Yep, cool. Just go allow and then
Allow.
yeah, that's fine. Yep, and then in studio and I will just mute and stop camera. Okay, right. Oh, you just need to share screen.
Yep.
So just go back to that window again. Yep. Share screen. Share screen. Yep. Hopefully that will work. Yep. Okay. Okay. Right. Now, just so that everyone in the room can see it, just give me a moment. Right. All right. Yep. Oh, sorry. Actually, sorry. One more thing.
Second one. Yep, that one.
Okay. Oh, why is it not sharing?
Okay.
What's going on there? Ah, sorry, I shared the wrong Emilie. From this. Two Emilies. Remove that one.
The left one. Yeah.
All right, and we're good.
Great.
Sorry for people in the room, it's going to be a little bit small.
Thank you for your patience. Oh, is it small?
Yes.
Will it be small? Okay. So this is my, okay, by the way, this is my entire prototyping space. I created my own portal. So I just upload all kinds of features like that. I used AI. So this particular feature is called Meta View, and I am going to upload a file. Okay. Yep. The drop zone is activated. So please just pay attention to the left corner at the bottom. So it shows the documents uploading process, but if I cancel it, yeah, it cancels and it shows the confirmation message. I'll just repeat similar things like over and over. So here, if I want to visit other tabs, it shows the confirmation message, are you sure? And at the time, the progress bar should be posed at the Y position, not just hiding or just continuing. So I found the relation of those two interactions, and engineers still should know how it should work. Otherwise, like they will figure that out. But like in terms of communication, like for them understanding like how big is the task for them, like it was a really good point to understand. Yeah, stay, then just continue. So these things are very I'll say, standard way. But the real kick I really enjoyed as a designer was when I just hide the big popover window, then this button itself shows the progression. So it continues, like it brings some continuity about the process that is running in the background, and users still gets informed, and it assures that things are still running, you didn't lose anything. So it creates a really good way of transparent communication. It doesn't look like the system looks broken. So without testing and adding animation, even though like the designer has a lot of experience in the product design area, it could be really hard to capture at first round of design process. But like I mentioned, that everything just happened in a day, and I covered most of the edge cases and filled those like jarring moments with some solutions. So like user story is ready and the design scope is ready. So we know what exactly should be delivered. So product managers understand the size of the feature, and the engineers knows like what should be prepared, like whether there is a animation stage or some like error handling is more important. Yeah, those kind of communication was really amusing that I experienced. So shall we go back to the slideshow?
Oops.
Cool.
Sorry.
Yep, so if I can just visualize and list of all the tasks that I had to cover, like it's related to the one of the slides in the early in the beginning of my session. Like this is what AI can cover for myself, and this is what I still need to do by myself. This is where like a human contribution shines, I'll say. So I would like to just highlight 4 points about like what I learned and what I experienced as a product designer. So cognitive offloading, definitely I mentioned a couple of times that because like I didn't need to learn lots of like complex things like how to create animation or how to code. So I still had heaps of cognitive budget to think about like what is more important for the users and what I can contribute more for this feature. Then, thank you. So narrative UX, like I mentioned, that like the real point to become a story architect is writing prompt, but the prompt is more about giving the context. So I should be on focus with the user story or understanding the users and writing. Times already. And then, yeah, the gap analysis was like where I highlighted the animation, like when the big box was hiding, but still continues giving information to the user with very cute visual cue. Yeah. So while I was preparing this presentation, like my favorite product manager shared her thoughts, and we talked about like what was the fear, like what was the obstacle we had faced and how we tackled it. So like most of people, like including myself and everyone here, like I'm pretty sure we have thought about that, like how we figure it out, what tasks are actually worth it to, like worth delegating to the AI. Like I mentioned, like in the very first slide, it's not like a one prompt and the final product. So we should figure it out, and understanding that part was a bit of journey. And the second thing is like, what should we do if the output is very disappointing? Because like once we put a lot of effort, like for example, we've been through 4 days of AI DLC workshop. And it was all about like inception and putting lots of information to harness the AI to be prompt ready. So there was a bit of fear that like we are just gathering in a big meeting room, like almost like 10 people sitting there for 8 hours and just keep feeding the information to AI to understand what we do and what we should do. Then, yeah, people started wondering, is this actually worth it? Yeah, what if the result is really bad or like not good enough to use it for production? But then my suggestion, and everyone came up with some kind of middle ground, was that like targeting a small chunk, small phase, and design area, maybe my suggestion, I'll suggest that testing with a component level of prompting first. Then once like become really confident in writing good prompt, then expand the area like whole section or entire screen, then discuss about the flows, including many like screens together, then turn it into a prototype and review and enhance it. So that's more like practical way to adapt AI to the existing design process.
Can I say too?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
We'll take questions at the end. Sorry, we're just running a bit over time. So we'll take
Maybe,
questions at the end.
sorry. Yeah. So that was me. Thank you for listening. And I really appreciate being part of this event. So have a good evening. Bye.
All right, can I get all the speakers up for the Q&A? We'll just shift the chairs into the middle. Let's hold while we rearrange the stage. And just change the view. So the hardest question is like which seat to take. Right now, I'm going to give a little bit of an apology to the people online. YouTube seems to have changed something and the chat is no longer present. So I guess if you are online, perhaps try putting, if you've got a really burning question, put it as a comment on the meetup event, and I'll try and have a look at that, and we'll see if we can pull those questions out. So my apologies for that. Thank you, whoever that product manager was who decided to change that. Yes. Right. So let's start with questions from the room. I think it was, sorry, I interrupted a question at the front there.
So in reality, your last comment about taking the chunks is so much worth it because everybody wants to do the whole picture. You know, do a screenshot of a map of Auckland in 1930 or something. Ridiculous. Whereas if you do chunks, but in reality though, when you're creating something from a graphic design point of view, you never make the whole picture in one go.
No.
Unless you've made it before. You know, you template it. So you make this part, and then that part, and this part, and then look at the storyline.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight. There was a definitely clear intention that I shared that marketing design, because that's the myth everyone believes, that's the fantasy, but the reality is really different. So yeah, targeting small chunk and fail small. is the key point to actually increase the AI adoption to the existing process.
Who else got a question in the room?
Is any of the AI workflows that you guys been working giving anything other than PRDs, something that developers can pick up and use AI to lift it to production?
So the question was, did we generate any content that the devs could use, right? Yes. So the thing with Lovable is it generates really good, in my opinion, really good code. The developers might not agree, but it was good enough for them to then take it and fiddle around with it and then productionize it. So it's not starting from the ground up, but it's starting from, let's say, I would say 40 to 50% of the way there. And I'll just add one thing, right? So the good thing about Lovable, and I'm using Lovable as an example here, and I'm pretty sure Claude does the same thing, is that you can add context. So you can add like the styling, design language, and it picks up the design language. So everything looks exactly like your production side, but it's the AI force, it's done it right. So there's some resistance, but in my opinion, it looks the same. So thank you.
Questions in the room or question in the back?
Yeah, kind of like monitoring and then feeding back the analytics to the AI. I'm just curious, like, you automated that, or if it's kind of like you're triggering like what's going to check?
So I haven't automated that. So as part of the PRD, I write the analytics requirement, and then I'll have to go and prompt. Oh, sorry. So the question was, have I around the analytics part is if I automate that process, or do I have to go manually and check? And the answer is no. I still have to manually go and prompt to find out those what's happening and things like that. So yeah, haven't quite automated that part yet.
I think we saw a small demo with Emilie, but have you figured out any good ways to catalog your bytecode prototypes yet?
That catalog thing, it was my landing page to the product, my personal portal. So that's the beauty of Vibe Code. I didn't know how to share the design file, the prototype, and we couldn't wait the engineers set up the safe environment. Safe is important, but communication in right time was also important. So I just vibed I need some script with password. So just set up some password, very manual, and it's not multi-fact thing. It's just I share the word internally. Then once we type the password, then it shows the prototype that I shared here. Then I move on to the next feature. Then I wanted to use the same interface, but just a different prototype. Then I thought, oh, I need some catalog page. So create a catalog. So edit that one layer before the password screen. So it's how my interface got developed to curate the good part of good prototypes.
So
Might as well speak into it. Makes it easier.
So this one's for Darren. It's kind of two-part. The first is your thing that you did with all the agents. What did you build it on? So it's like a architectural thing. And then the second part is at one of your slides you mentioned when you had the 3 or 4 little things at the bottom, that one of the problems is that the context window gets compressed and then all of that. And then you said having a centralized place to so that it always has its context ready. So kind of how you're approaching that. And also if you have some kind of recursive loop thing that as it learns or as it adds new context and it puts it there. And so how those two things are handled basically.
Thank you. Yeah, so what I did was, so I built on Cloud Code. right? So, and I have the agent created on Cloud Code, and then I have it in GitHub repo. So if anyone uses Cloud Code, you can access the repo from the Cloud Code online, meaning that I can use that agent from my phone, from any devices, right? And because of the continuous conversation, Cloud will compress that if it is too long. So what I did is when I create my agent, I have these instructions in my agent that every time when you move from one phase to another phase, please ask the user if they want to update to your documentation source. In my case, Notion, or you can use Confluence, etc. Right? So, and because of that, every time when I access the repo from Cloud Code Online, I can always resume by pointing my repo and my agent pointing towards that Notion page. So you'll be able to reread, because Cloud is very smart. It will save your Notion page ID in your session. So you will be able to refer that and retrieve all the relevant information back. So that's how I did it, so that I can use it on any device. Hope that answers your question.
People at the front there's a privilege of
Thank
sitting
you.
at the front.
Amazing stories. Thank you very much. Have any of you done any cost-benefit analysis on what you've done? Like how many tokens you burned building the thing? Maybe it was cheaper to hire a junior to do this work. So that's the question. Thanks.
Very relevant, since I keep burning through my own token allowance.
Okay. So one time, it was not about that particular feature building. I hit my limit, like even though I was on a pro account. So I had to wait, like it was like really forced breakdown time for 1 hour. Yeah, so definitely skill writing is a key. So I set up a few pre-flight things, like before creating the code based on my Figma design, just check what component I can reuse in the existing project file. And if there's an icon, just double check that if the icon is added in my project file instead of creating a new SVG file, and ask me if there's nothing you can find, I will supply. That was the rule I created. Yeah, so just avoiding repetitive jobs. That was the key, and that was in the skills. Yep.
So do you know how much you paid, or your company paid?
Like the amount? That's a good question. I think I don't know. I just burned a lot, but like one prompt burns like easily, like the smallest token was like 1.7K, and sometimes I burn like a 3.4K. Yeah, but how many times I prompt? Yeah, that's quite a lot. Yeah.
It's a great question. I love it, because we think in numbers, like we work with vendors, right? So to answer your question, yes, we did cost benefit analysis for this project. And the key for us was how many hours are the vendors spending on doing a piece of work? And the second thing is how much of my time do I spend on doing this piece of work, right? Because we're competing with other projects. So I think in terms of token usage, we have an enterprise license, which it's a shared tier. So I would say 256 times 8 is the cost of tokens that we use in the company. But in terms of time saved, if I put this, I mean, obviously we didn't have spending 6 weeks, but if I got the team to spend 6 weeks, 6 weeks equates to $15,000 to $17,000, right? So I'm doing the rough math right now. So you divide that by 3 is how much money we saved. Obviously, it was a conceptual. I'm calculating right now, but I think that's, for me, it's like the biggest is the discovery time. Is that where we saved tokens? It's it's monthly fee we have to pay for it, but the time, discovery time.
I think we'll take one more question from the room if there's any questions left. Anyone?
Peony, in your workflow, you seem to automate quite a lot of it, or at least it seems like it could be almost end-to-end fully automated. You're keeping context files up to date, and you've got transcripts that you're uploading. Just interested in your thoughts on the human element, the human in the loop, and how you still see, just that human element in a world which is so fully automated.
So the question is, if I can summarize, is with my workflow, sorry, what's your name? Ruri. So what Ruri asks is, it seems like my workflow has been set up in the way that it could be automated. So the question is, where does human in the loop comes in? The human in the loop, for me, it's about agency. It's about figuring out which is the right problem to solve. Because, with the added multiplier help us to, do more with with less people, maintain the same momentum. It's about figuring out which is the right problem to solve. So there's definitely still human in the loop in that decision making around what to ship, when is it enough, when have we built enough, have enough fidelity to make it available to customers and learn from that. So there's still heaps of taste that's involved in making these decisions. Can I just add one?
Oh, yep.
So I just wanted to add one comment to Nick's question about like a token and saving and training junior things. So we have a session to share like what skills we have created in a design team. So I and all other designers share, and usually juniors get the benefit of it. Yeah, because we just share the file and it runs on their machine.
So, take one last question there. Lucky last.
You mentioned you went down from 3 to 1 team. Did it not feel lonely? Was it?
So I still work with, in that kind of context, I still had fractional leadership. So I worked with, for a year, I worked with Melissa, who I think presented in the past at this this forum. And also we did have fractional like designer to kind of help us with some of the bigger design projects and things like that. But then, I had to keep moving things along with 9 engineers still looking to, have to keep that momentum going. It does feel lonely, but, with the network of people, I stay connected that way, chatting to other product people, because File Invite is part of the Ice House Ventures group. They bring product people together in their portfolio. So that's another way that, I learn from other product people.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. Can we have a big round of applause for our speakers? And can we also have a big round of applause for AT and Pendo for hosting us? Stack, who is arranging all of things tonight. And finally, a round of applause for our volunteers. So if you're a volunteer helping out tonight, can you put your hand up? And there's a few people still around. These are the people who make tonight possible. So thank you very much. All right, so just a few things to talk about. No, that's not going to work because I'm going to have to press these buttons. Please bear with me for just a moment while I go back over here. Right, there we go. Okay, so tonight was a ProductTank event. So ProductTank is part of the broader Mind the Product universe. So they're product of your local ProductTank. We also have this organization called Product Aotearoa, and every year we run a conference under that banner. And for the people in the room, you'll see we have it, you'll know that the conference is back, November 12th and 13th down in Wellington. 12th will be the conference, 13th will be the workshops. Really appreciate if you are keen to attend, please pre-register. That way you'll be the first to find out about when our tickets go on sale. If you're interested in speaking, please scan the code on the right, my right, that right, you're right, and put an application to speak. We are looking for amazing speakers around the topics of just how your product craft is working day to day, AI, how are you using AI, and also leadership. So those are kind of the three key themes that we're tackling this year at the conference. So if you are keen to put in an application to present, please either scan that or have a chat with me or one of our other volunteers tonight, and we can tell you all about that. Right. Okay. Keen. Then for the monthly events, we are keen, as always, to get more people from the community speaking. If you are keen on presenting, got something interesting you'd like to talk about, or just something you think might be interesting, just come and have a chat with us. We'd be really happy to get you speaking. We're also always on the lookout for venues and sponsors for our events as well, like AT and Pendo did tonight. And actually on that topic, I'll do a plug for Emilie's Friends of Figma group. I am speaking at Friends of Figma next week on the topic of commercial acumen for designers, but it will be relevant to product people as well. If you want to know where to go and sign up for that, it'll be hosted at Aura on next Tuesday night. Emilie will be able to tell you all about where to go sign up for that. Right, that's us for tonight. Happy World Product Day, everyone. Thank you so much. And apologies to the people online for not being able to do the Q&A. We're sorry about that. We will fix that for next time. Thanks, everyone. We'll be shutting down the live stream shortly.
Good one.
Thank you so much.
I'll message you.
Yes, we can. Is there any space at the Woolies office to host events? Like, do you guys have event space?
Oh, there's the problem. Yeah, I also wanted to do things, but we have only one floor.
Oh, okay, right.
Space.
Right. Okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah.